Welcome to Koffee Talks with Dan Norton and David Person.
Dan, are you too old to be in school?
I mean, probably. I know there are mature students who go back to school later, but generally, I think I would be considered too old to be in school.
You know, Dan, I guess that's an interpretive thing, right? Because school would be the thing is you're automatically presuming that I'm talking about school of your youth, whereas these days, I was speaking to somebody today and they said you could just study chat GPT all day long and you could learn anything you want and you could basically be in school perpetually for whatever the next endeavor is you're going to do. So from a schooling perspective, Dan, you had homework. You had homework over these last several days. And just as you required me to get on this evening, despite my admonitions of not willing to be able to do that, you had homework. How did you come out, Dan? I haven't seen a highlight reel come out yet, but I'd like to hear that you made progress and you're ready and just ready to surprise the world with all of your newfound gained knowledge.
Yeah, I actually think there's some going to be ready. I'll probably put one out tomorrow. I've done some highlight reels of the eras tour video. There's a couple of those came out okay. I just use the free version of the program for now, just so I can see how it works. But that let me have enough free credits to do one long video, which got a few clips out of it. So I'm still learning a bit more about the other options, but it does automatically do the thing where it fixes the aspect ratio, puts the subtitles and stuff on it. I'm still playing about with some of the other features, but there are some highlights that are pretty much ready to go. So next day or two, potentially the same day this comes out, I'll get up a highlight from that Eras Tour video and we'll get some more out over the next week. And then if I like them, if it's working for us, then I'll jump up to the paid version and do it for more videos.
And you're a big fan of actually doing a few of these different kinds of test things that you've done to just see how it does or does not seem to impact the views. So this will give you that opportunity, right?
Yeah, just see how much people like it on the Instagram. Before I commit to spending a few $100s on the program, just see how people like it and whether it's something I'm comfortable doing.
And then keep me posted on that because I get stuff that comes in, as everybody knows that's watching, your phone is always listening to you, like which is better than actually your partner, your life partner is. So that's why we should all date and be in relationships with our phones, which actually based on how much time we spend with them in our hands, we kind of are. That all came to me, but it's actually true. So I do have things that come across my phone daily and say, hey, this one's cheaper than this, and this is better than the free version of what you're using to do your highlight clips over here. So there are clearly other platforms and other programs as well that could be beneficial. We have to get this out and see what it does. So thank you for doing the work and the testing and stuff. That's very cool. Next thing I thought I would bring up is I just watched your video, I don't know, this morning or something, because Dan, I can't watch you more than once every 2 or 3 days because I need to have my independence from you as well. And sometimes I feel too dependent when I'm just hanging on every word you say in the videos. But I liked your Fortnite video. I didn't really, as far as strategies, I don't think you showed me very much as far as how I would defeat another player in the game of Fortnite. But the information that you provided was pretty cool, and I enjoyed that. So
Yeah, I'm still think it's weird that regionals promo that they went back to a promo from like 3 sets ago, but updated it with the new logo. It's a very strange one, but still just waiting to see if we can find those irises. That's the main thing. If people haven't watched that video but are watching this one, Iris's Fighting Spirit, the regionals promo, so far has only been released at the regionals in Sweden. Might come out at the Melbourne regionals this weekend or at the Portland regionals in 2 weeks. But especially if it doesn't come out at either of those two, I would really like some staff copies. So if you're someone from Sweden who has some staff copies of those, hit me up.
yeah, help out a fellow collector, folks. I mean, come on. The selfishness of this audience at times. Wait a minute, I feel like I'm looking in a mirror. Don't do that. You're doing it again. Both of you, settle down. We're on an actual podcast right now. It's a live recording. People are not asking anything during our live recording, but they should be. Sorry, I got adrift. Dan, I liked those regional promos. I love the new stamp. It was really colorful and cool. That was kind of a fun surprise. And then you were talking about and I hopefully you didn't say this a minute ago when our internet does what it always does, but do I have those snow hollows already or not?
Yes, because they were they came out in Europe when the chest first released. This is the collector's chest. It had a different foiling in the US and in Europe for some reason when it first came out. It had like a snowflake foil in Europe and Cosmos foil over here. And then they've just started showing up at Walmart's again 18 months later. But now they've got the snowflake hollow over in the US as well. But we did already have those because I got them from Europe when it first came out.
Okay, very good. Nice to hear. It's nice to hear actually that I own something. As you know, we're trying to struggle to get a package in from who knows where, Malaysia. I don't know where it is.
Malaysia, yeah, it's
And
stuck
yeah, we've been struggling forever because
stuck with
DHL levied a
DHL.
tariff on it. Maybe the US levied a tariff. DHL just had to collect on it. And now it's been sitting like 2 blocks from my house for the last week or 2 or 3, and they won't release it because nobody can actually find out and verify that the seller provided the additional funds that were requested, and we have a receipt for it, but they claim they never received it. So it can be a little frustrating, the
Yeah.
patience and all the stuff we have to go in through in some of these things. And people sometimes like to hear about the journey, but that's all a part of it, going through that as well. So Dan, I posted some stuff in the last few days, some sales posts on my Instagram. I always encourage you guys, make sure you're looking at my Instagram and stuff. I can tell you one thing, because I do sell Pokemon cards on and off. It's very hot again right now. I do not know why, but all of a sudden my eBay out of nowhere has picked up. My Instagram posts are selling out pretty immediately. I had something happen today that's never happened, and just a stupid technology glitch. I posted on Instagram this evening, like not more than an hour or two ago. And I had a couple people that said, I'm interested in those theme decks that you put out there. And as soon as I posted, I could see I had a couple people that I was able to respond to, talk to, but then I could see there were 7 additional messages of some kind, people trying to reach me. I saw nothing in Instagram other than the 7 and the arrow that comes along with it. And so as time went on, I ended up selling to just kind of the 2 people I was talking to, both of which I had basically been able to move over into my texting, because I couldn't see anything coming. I would see something come across in Instagram quickly, and then it was gone. It was like they never communicated with me. So I shifted them over to my texting. And then after everything was sold, like within an hour, I went back on, shut my phone down, trying to figure out what was going on with Instagram. And all of a sudden, here comes all these messages. I wanted this, I wanted these decks. And I had to apologize to everybody and say I felt so bad because I kind of didn't see them, or I saw one message, someone didn't respond quickly enough, never saw any other messages. So it's funny when you think about it, how bound we are by technology, for good, bad, or indifferent. But I do have stuff that I'm trying to post almost every day, every other day, and try to give deals significantly under market or brand new type stuff. So hopefully folks will keep, watching for that stuff as well.
Yeah, I think I'll probably end up posting some stuff for sale in a couple of weeks, actually, because 2 weeks' time we've got our next local card show. So I'm kind of in the process of getting sorted for that at the moment. That's what I spent a lot of my weekend doing, is because we weren't doing the recordings, I didn't have editing to do, as well as playing about with those. I was trying to get all of my recent open stuff sorted, and I sold 42,000 bulk this weekend, 42,000 commons and uncommons. Just took
Wow.
those to a local guy, sold those. But I've been trying to just get everything sorted and out of the way so we can pull out all of the stuff for the card show and get that organized. But I've said to Laura, I'm kind of feeling that after this card show, a lot of the stuff that we've still got is going on Verbank and Instagram and just trying to get rid of it. Because there's some stuff we've had for a while that's made it back and forth between quite a few different shows. And it's stuff where, like, if these shows, generally, we do all right in sales, but it's the cheaper cards we sell.
Right.
We make most of our money on the $1 and $2 cards. Really, that's where it is, just selling in bulk volumes of these lower end cards. Whereas the higher end stuff that's hundreds of dollars, or like playmats that are hundreds of dollars, people come and talk about them, but no one's interested in buying them. So I'm feeling that after this card show, a lot's going to go online, get all of it gone, get some money and set us up for Worlds and everything.
I think that's a great idea. I mean, I've been thinking a lot recently just about one thing I've actually never done is I've never gone to my local card shop. And the one, for example, Dan, that they opened up down the road here for me near Target.
Yeah.
And I just started thinking, I might have some light play world types cards that that, give an example. Okay. So you put one out there and you sell it at $99. It's in the market for 150 or 200. And I get a few takers. I'll sell 4 or 5 of them or something. But what if I have 5 more and I don't want to wait any longer? Well, maybe I can go to the card shop and say, if you guys would buy these at 50, you can typically sell them at 100. So it gives them a good deal, and it gives the people there that buy them a good deal. And sometimes it gives them inventory they aren't going to necessarily have. So, trying to create wins for everybody is nice, especially in a hobby that has a lot of different affordability points. A lot of folks that have not so much money, but they still want to own a special card or something. And that's when these IG type posts really, I think, come in handy too, because I can typically sell cheaper because I don't have all the fees and the labor necessarily involved in a lot of the eBay type of selling that I would normally do.
Yeah.
But
So
I like that you're selling. I like that. So that's
yeah,
good.
like the only reason I'm not posting anything at the moment is because we've got that card show in 2 weeks. So
Right.
I'll figure we'll take everything to that. I've said I haven't even signed up for the following card show, which is 3 months later, just because I don't know what I want to do yet. I said I want to get this one out the way, try and sell some more stuff, and then decide what I'm doing for the next one. I think
Good.
there's a good chance I'll still go to the next one, because when I'm talking about posting stuff online and selling it, I am meaning these higher end items. All of the lower end stuff, like all our extra Vs and GXs and EXs and all that stuff, that's always still just good to go to shows. I'm not going to be, on Verbank nickel and diming, getting my 50-cent cards sold there. Those will still just go in a box and go to some local stuff. But
Although I will tell you one idea on that, Dan. I mean, you can nickel and dime. I mean, nickel and dime is too cheap, but a lot of cards, LOT,
yeah,
not a lot of cards, but a lot of cards, actually sells pretty well on Instagram, depending on what you've got in it. So that's what I do. I'll put out 30 or 40 or 50 cards, and I sell them as a lot, and it's only one lot available, but invariably it does get picked up. So that's kind of a cool thing as well.
yeah.
Dan,
I
when you
mean,
walk
well,
into a card show, do they know you? Are you like a hero? Are you like an iconic member of the community? Or are you just incognito and nobody has a clue who you are?
I think some people know me there at the local shows, but not very many people. But
Okay, because
they
Dan,
more
I'd like to
they
state
know
for the
me
record.
as a local player and collector rather than
Okay,
as
fair enough. Because when I go
more than
anywhere,
that.
Dan, no one knows me. And you know what? That's sad, because when you've lived your whole life and no one knows you, it's really nothing wrong with it. But if you wanted to seek fame and fortune, you failed miserably. Dan, I did see some interesting news, because I don't know what's up with my phone, but it's got me shifting different platforms and other kinds of stuff. So tell me if I read this right, correct, Lee, today when I actually saw it. Apparently, your good friend and housemate, I'm not talking about the dogs here, Dan. I'm talking about Laura Norton of the Norton Columbus, Ohio Nortons. She got selected for Worlds.
Yep.
And against a backdrop of several people who probably thought they had been at Worlds, were going to get selected, had been selected before, maybe they always were selected and did not get selected. So is she? I know the post was a little bit of mixed emotions, kind of, and she's very reflective and intellectual when she writes, but does she really appreciate what a great honor it was in this particular instance this year, when it seems like almost less people or less of the regular people were selected?
Yeah, definitely. And it is a case that there are less people being taken on as judges. It was the case of so last year 3 judges from our league got to Worlds, and this year only 2 of them did. We had hoped that it was going to be 4 or 5 of the judges from our league getting in this year, but because of the fact that they wound it back, that ended up not being the case. Law, we're not going to NAIC, unfortunately, because we have a family wedding. All of the judges from our league, I think, who applied got some position at NAIC. So I believe Law would have done if we'd applied, but it was only Law and our friend James from our league who ended up getting judge spots. Law is actually doing judging this year, judging of side events rather than main event, but it's a shift. It was last couple of years, Law's done stuff like prize team and stuff like that, and play labs, that kind of thing. But now Law's on side event judging, which is really sweet.
Yeah, that's very cool. Well, congratulations to her. Make sure you pass it along. And as you know, I won't be able to be there because Unfortunately, I didn't get selected, but I will work diligently behind the scenes in the hopes that someone will, miraculously come up with some way for me to enter the venue were
They
I to
will.
actually try to
Once the players find out they're qualified,
Yes.
every player has an extra badge. We'll get you a badge from a player.
Okay. All right. Good. I'm glad there's a method to someone's madness because my madness provides no methodology whatsoever.
The
Let's.
annoying thing by buying cards this year, the annoying one is going to be NAIC because I'm not going to be there because of a family wedding, and Ruben's not going to be there. So we're going to be playing about a 5-person game of telephone. Of Ruben will be calling and speaking to the VGC players who win. He'll then be calling me. I'll then have to call James or John or someone who's actually in New Orleans trying to get them to pick up the cards. I'll be at Cedar Point by the time that cards are being given out, so I'll be on a roller coaster trying to organize buying cards for you from New Orleans.
When is NAIC, Dan?
It's 14th, 15th of June, I think. It's about a month away.
Okay, you said June, right?
June, yeah.
Okay. So people do have enough. Do you feel like that's an adequate enough time for people that do what they need to do there to get to Worlds to be able to make all the regular plans they need to make sure it all works out seamlessly?
Well, that's the thing, is because this year, because it's not a hard cutoff for points, it's top X amount of players for each region.
Yeah.
Really, I think NAIC is the last event of the year, so people will kind of have an idea going in, but there is always that thing of some person who's way below you could just hugely spike a load of points and jump above you. I think with the ICs, it's either top 4 or top 8 get automatic worlds invites. I think maybe top 4. But they also get a bunch of points, so I don't know if the points that they get still put them in that league table, and I don't know whether the invites pass down. I don't fully know how that works. So after NAIC happens, that's when people will start figuring out if they've made the cut or not. But it's no one can, other than the few people who are right at the top or people who have, topped or won other ICs. No one can really start making plans yet until everything's set in stone.
It's interesting when you say that because I'm not sure that or from what you said exactly. So let's say that they take a certain top number of players, and of course that's a constant moving target based on, as you said, moving points and that kind of thing. But then what I wonder is, do your top 4s and your top 8s and your champions go above and beyond that, or do they alter because those folks and their points would have already put them in that top 200? I'm just making up a number. So they would have already been there, and they're taking a spot away from someone, but then the automatic bid could potentially drop them out of that pool and let someone else come in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't. They'll have announced it somewhere, but I haven't read up on it that much because I'm not a world's contender, so I've never looked into it fully as to what I would have to do to qualify. And it's the top X players from different regions. So there's the top amount of players from North America, from Latin America, from Europe, from Oceania. There's different amounts. I think like Oceania gets less players than North America or Europe, but it's within your region. So your like Oceania players have to do well compared to other Oceania players. They don't have to do probably as well as Americans, which kind of balances it out. Because obviously in previous years, when it was a points threshold, places like Oceania had a lower points threshold than America and stuff anyway. And then all of the Asia countries have their own qualification system that's completely independent from anything else that's being done, because all of the Asia countries, even the ones that run these tournaments with the English cards that we get, they're being run by the Pokemon Company rather than the Pokemon Company International, so they have a completely different qualification system.
Interesting. I've been thinking a lot about it lately, and I don't know exactly why. Time flies. We're already in May. We're talking about August for the Worlds tournament, and part of me is actually at a point where I'm starting to think about not being as willing purposely. purposely, almost as an experiment, not being as willing to put as much money on the table for the big cards anymore, just so essentially I'm not bidding against myself. So now, of course, I understand that all of the, you know, the circumstances that are brand new that we could have to encounter could change that. But presuming that there's, again, the most cards that there's ever been, like 12 of a place, presuming that there's not any new art, which there could be, we don't know. So there's not necessarily a great new demand or appeal for something that's spectacularly new. And all of a sudden, guess what? Everybody wants, some gross number. They want $100,000. And maybe there's somebody foolish enough to actually pay it. That's not me. You know as well as I do that there's people often that say they will pay it, but they won't. They're trying to push the market up sort of as a barrier to me. And so all of a sudden we say no. And let's see what happens, right? Is that card now a $75,000 card, an $80,000 card? One of the cards sells big because somebody just says, oh, I finally have my chance to own a from 23 forward full art card that's a little different, et cetera. So it's intellectually stimulating to think about. It's strategically stimulating. It's old man, I'm still alive stimulating to think about maybe playing the game a little differently this year. Of course, provided that I'm there, not there, or just, you're in Cedar Rapids or Cedar, Idaho, or you're on some roller coaster and I'm talking to you in Reuben, wherever. So
well, that's Friday, I see. But I will say for Worlds, there are definitely some people who have that amount of money other than you. Obviously not 12 people, but it depends on who's selling. I think other than you, the big money's coming from China.
mm-hmm.
Like that's like these people don't come in person, they have their middlemen dealing with it, but China is where the other big buyers are coming from at the moment. But the other thing, the reason that a lot of these cards are highly priced is, we've kind of talked about it over the last few years, the prize money for Pokemon tournaments has massively increased. Like when we look back at the first few Worlds I was attending, you got $5,000 in scholarship money for winning Worlds. Now you get something like $50,000 or $75,000 cash. So back then, players were really wanting to sell the trophy card because they wanted some cash. Now there's more of it. Even if there was literally no one who was willing to pay the $100,000 on a number one trainer, the people who've got a number one trainer also were just given $75,000 in cash. So they can wait. There's no more. We no longer have the case of players are desperate to sell because they need the money. It is more of it's in the player's favor to say, well, I want 100,000. If you're not going to give me 100,000, it's coming home with me.
Right.
Like, they can call bluffs basically.
That's right. But so what's so interesting about that? And I thought maybe you're going to go a different way, but you went right down a perfect path. I'm 100% in agreement with you. They can now, they get a lot more money from the background, so they really can wait should they want to.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Don't you firmly believe, Dan, from what you've seen over the course of time in the recent years, I'm not going back to the beginning, we're in a different time period of Pokemon now, but don't you believe that it's, if you took was Vance or Matthew somebody or Van, it was Vance Kelly, right?
Yeah,
I don't ever know if he sold his card or not, but if he didn't sell his card and he comes out tomorrow to sell that card, I am firmly in the belief that he would not get as much today as he would have got for that card back had it been a day or 2 or 3 after he had won that card. And I don't think that's going to change. I truly believe that even when you talk about the Chinese buyers that come out, there's not a ton of them, Dan. I know what's going on from there. There are a few.
Yeah, absolutely. I do totally agree. And I do think there is also, it plays into that idea of people want the hot new thing.
Right.
Like even the Chinese buyers who aren't showing their stuff on Instagram or whatever, they aren't going to want the 2024 card when there's the 2025 card. They're going to want the big new thing. And obviously all of the other people, all the other businesses and stuff who are buying these cards for the purpose of resale, they want the newer stuff. because they need to show the new stuff on Instagram to get all their advertising and stuff out of it. But people like Vance genuinely just might want to never sell that card. I think there are people who've sold cards in the past who I think if the circumstances were different, if those previous worlds did give large amounts of money, I think there would have been way more people who just didn't sell their cards at all and were happy to own those cards for the rest of their lives. But when they were in the circumstance of, oh, this is the only thing that's going to give me actual cash money from Pokemon and is going to fund me playing the next year of Pokemon, they were more willing to let it go. So yeah, I think if Pokemon had given cash prizes back then, even if it was a case back then of, oh, the card would sell for 5,000, but your 5,000 prize money was cash, or you got 7,500 cash, I think having that would have stopped some people selling their trophy card for 4,000 or 5,000 and just saying, I'm happy to keep this forever because I've got this amount of cash. And I think when you talk about people like Vance who would get less if they sold it now, I don't think that's entering into the equation for him. I think for him, he wants to own that card. If he hasn't sold the card already, he likely wants to own the card for as long as possible, potentially for the rest of his life.
Yeah, it's just that it's dramatically different, as we all know. As a financial advisor, Dan, things change all the time. So somebody can have a plan of action, one day, and 6 months later, it can be different for myriad reasons. So I'm not saying that, but these kids are also very astute and they understand the value of the money versus the value of the card. And the sentimentality right after they win it is one thing. They just want it. Of course, we don't want to give it up. I just want it. It's the most special thing in the world. And you fast forward a couple years down the road, and the 100 you could have got is now 50 or something. And so you've cut in half a tremendous investment for a piece of cardboard that, unless there's remarkable continued growth in this hobby, may never be worth those numbers again. It's not like they were worth 5,000 one day and now we're up to where we are today. It's like, okay, sometimes the prices go so high and now you look at the auctions and they don't necessarily support some of the values that have been paid over the last couple of years. So that's all I'm saying. I'm just saying it's an interesting strategic game. That's all.
Yeah, and we'll play it by ear. We'll see what happens. Just
right.
You bring your big wad of cash to Worlds, or make sure your PayPal accounts are loaded up, and make sure my account is loaded up as well in case we have to use Wise.
Yeah. Surprise. At least you have your fun all year long. Well, I have to prepare for you. I prepare all year and you have your fun for a weekend. That's nice. That's like, well, I don't want to say it because Laura may watch this one day. Dan, I have just one more thing to say in this, random hodgepodge of things we're talking about today. And then you can talk about anything else you want. But, I will say to you folks that do or don't follow me and the other stuff that goes on in life. So I appreciate those that do. So this last weekend, which was Mother's Day weekend, we took my son. You guys know my son, Lucas, and he just turned 14 on May 10th. So I don't know which was Mother's Day, maybe the day before. So he played in his first circuit tournament, which means, you kind of travel and you're going out of state, and it's on the Adidas circuit. So, and he was actually named as one of the 10 top players in the tournament, which was kind of fun. The all tournament team, well, for his first tournament was really good. And that I'm hoping he's going to make it to the NBA someday. So the journey continues, and it's tough and there's struggles, but he's doing his part as much as he can. And so it's fun to see the success in a blurb that goes out to everybody involved, and he was do that. So you can follow him if you want. There's nothing ever posted there, but if you'd like to see when the posts start getting bigger and bigger, it's Lucas Shifty, Lucas, and then the word Shifty on Instagram, and followers are welcome. So.
And who knows, maybe one day you'll be getting his NBA cards from Topps or something. That's the dream, right?
That'd be very cool. Based on talent, it's there. We can just work on his mind. The physical talents are there. The rest of it's going to be the mind. And I would say the same thing about Dan Norton of the Columbus Nortons. It's, Columbus, Ohio. There he is right in front of us. It's his talent is there. It's just his mind.
I mean, physically, I'm not in shape either. But
that's true. Yeah. That's true. But that's that lactose intolerance. I'll get you on some stuff. Don't worry about it, Dan.
One last thing I want to mention. So we went out over the weekend because we were running some errands. We were getting stuff sorted. Law had to pick up some new clothes for the wedding that's coming up. So recently, over the past few weeks, I've been meaning to buy a CD player. And I keep looking at Amazon going, I'll buy a CD player at some point. Because, laptops don't have CD drives anymore. And I want to play CDs.
Can I ask you, as you tell this story, is there such a thing, and just follow me here, is there actually such a thing as a CD player? Or are you just calling it that, but it's really a DVD player?
No, I mean a CD player. A one that just plays music.
Okay, fine.
I have a DVD player.
Okay, got it.
Well, it's, I used to play CDs on my laptop, but laptops don't have CD drives anymore.
That's true.
They just don't make them with disk drives. And even though I could just go easily and get one on Amazon, I always just put it off. And it's a thing where I just knew if I ever saw one in a store, like if I ever saw one in Walmart or something, I would have bought a CD player. But you can't buy a CD player anymore because it's apparently outdated technology and they don't stock them. You can buy a vinyl player though, because vinyl's coming back. Vinyl's back in a big way. What was definitely outdated technology at one point. And I made peace with that. I knew you could buy a vinyl player, but not a CD player, whatever. And then we were out over the weekend. And I could buy a cassette player. I could buy a cassette Walkman from a physical store, but I can't buy a CD player. What's up with that? Come on, we cannot be going back to the point where people think cassettes are good again. There's no benefit to... I get the idea of vinyl. People love it. It's good. You've got the big thing, and you put it on, and you put your needle in. It's all a big fancy thing you do. But come on, cassettes are rubbish. Oh, that's just a rant of... I need to go and buy myself a CD player so I can play my Tiger Lily CDs and annoy Laura because she doesn't like them.
Comment, guys. It's important for Dan to understand there's a different way to play his Tiger Lily songs. There is a different way, okay? I'm not going to reveal it, but you know what? It's important.
Right,
Dan is going to live once in this life.
Tell me, what's the different way to play my CDs?
No, I'm not going to reveal the secret. I won't do it. I won't do it to you, and I won't do it to anybody else. But I will tell you, if you want to play your Tiger Lily songs, you deserve to. You live once, play your darn songs. I don't care if Laura likes anybody else. So anybody has an old CD player they want to send to Dan, I will pay the postage. Just let me know. Okay?
I'm just going to buy one. They genuinely are like $20 on Amazon. I just need to go and buy a CD player. I just haven't.
You know what? I could say the same thing about a mic. Wouldn't a mic be really good, like right here in front of my face for about $20 or something? Okay, good. So
no echo and not being able to hear the rest of your family talking and stuff when they're around. It would be great.
All right, my friend. Well, thank you for making us catch up. For those that have watched and are dumb enough that you have watched, we love you to death. We just have to get back in the swing of things. So every once in a while, Dan and I will do a catch-up video to get back in the swing of things. And then we'll get back on track. Look for Dan's highlights, comments, feedback. Everything positive is welcome. Anything negative, get the heck out. Go live your life. Leave us alone.
Yeah. Interesting thing is we'll probably do a Coffee Talks again tomorrow. And then a couple of days of non-Coffee Talks because I do have some other videos to do at the weekend because it's pre-release weekend for Destined Rivals this weekend. So I'll probably get some Destined Rivals opened over the weekend on the channel and potentially that new super premium collection for Prismatic. So we will see you tomorrow for Coffee Talks and then it might be Monday again after that. But hey, that's it. Hopefully you enjoyed whatever this was. We'll see you again.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Coffee Talks with Dan Norton and David Person, with music by More Than Never and artwork by Lore Norton. A special thanks to all our Patreon members. Join us again next time.
But they don't want you to.